Just about 21 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Now, the Housing Development Corporation, or HDC, is offering its customers more ways to pay with a cashless option. And so joining us this morning to talk more about the new initiative is Minister in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Adrian Leons, the CEO of TNT International Finance Center. Actually, that should be the CEO of the International Financial Center, Mr. John Outridge. And of course, we have the General Manager of Innovation, Mr. Keno Cox. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Good.
So many people here. I'm like, okay, this is this one, this is that one. Just had to make sure we get everybody correct. So I'm coming to you first, Minister. This is the cashless option. I know that HDC has been boasting that they're the first organization, or the first government organization, rather, to offer this cashless option to customers. Tell us why we're doing this, and also what are some of the options available to HDC clients right now?
Sure. Well, we are doing this really to make things easier for persons. It's actually also to help persons who are, let's say, vulnerable, make things easier, to look out for the less fortunate. People seldom consider how you have to take time off to go into the HDC buildings, how that affects your work. Now you can just go online and make your payments through your credit card. You said cashless, but there's also a cash option. We could go down in the lotto booth, right? And you could take your cash and go ahead and pay. So, it's the convenience, really, and the availability for persons to be able to meet their obligations easier, without any hassle-free.
Yeah. Now, I saw the launch yesterday. Is there also a caravan that is going into the housing communities and the housing developments and also offering that option as well?
Yes, definitely. So we're going to roll out, let people understand what it is about, basically speak to them also about some of the things that are coming. While we're there, we're gonna have a handheld machine, and you can actually make your payments one time. So persons, it's a kind of excitement, for persons to actually try out and test out the system. Additionally, the HDC, we're going to launch, part of the caravan is showing the app that we're also going to launch, where a lot of people have issues, whether it be leaking roof or whatever. We'll be able to have real-time information in terms of some of the challenges, and that would also feed into work programs for the persons within the HDC.
Yeah.
So at one point in time, we could look at any development and know what are the issues, where the issues are, and plan our work process to fix those things. So it's excitement, it's technology, it's digitization, it's all that is going on.
Yeah. I'm coming to you, John, because I know that you'd have had to partner with the ministry to get this rollout done. Tell us some of the benefits of actually going online and offering clients this available option.
Yeah, sure. And as the minister was saying, one of the things that we, from the IFC perspective, because this entire initiative is really, in a sentence, making payments simplified, and it's definitely unique, I would say, in the country, because there's no organization that's going to have the multitude of options available to them to do business with the HDC based on this sort of service. And as the minister is mentioning, from the citizen perspective, you could go online, you could pay with a debit card, right? Because majority of all the banks would have switched over with citizens, so now everybody has that Visa-enabled card, so you'll be able to use that card, credit cards, and as minister has mentioned, most important part about it is being able to, for persons who are not comfortable yet with the technology, to be able to go to an NLCB booth or a PAY's booth and be able to pay with cash. And the importance of that is, we're seeing the sort of fintech ecosystem now playing a role, because now you're realizing that, within Trinidad and Tobago, persons who may be interested and wanting to basically develop their own network. They may be living in Santa Flora, for example, other rural areas, and they want to be a payment service provider. They want to be part of this government collection drive and be able to offer that sort of service and technology. They could go and apply to the central bank and basically be a part of those things. So this is where we see in the sort of, the government playing a role, and then the private sector being able to kind of partake in that opportunity. But the overall benefit is really to the citizens, because creating a network that's kind of enhancing the service delivery. So, it is something, it is first, basically.
Now, is it open to everyone? Like, can I, for example, if it is I want to pay my mortgage, rent, that sort of thing, can I go on HDC's website right now to do something like that?
So the service is kind of being phased in because, as you can imagine, with the HDC has a huge diverse clientele. So it's basically being sort of tested with certain customers just to make sure the experience is right. Because as we saw in the launch, as Kino kind of went through, it's really basically 3 steps. But still, people need to understand, what they need to do, because the most important part outside of the customer being able to pay, the benefit is really on the HDC on the back end so that they could quickly update records and so forth. So again, customers can, as the minister mentioned, when they roll the app, the HDC kind of get a whole profile so they understand where the payments are, and then on the HDC they are able to apply those payments effectively and efficiently. So those things are being worked out
on a phase basis.
Correct, yeah.
No problem. Kino, I'm coming to you. John mentioned that step-by-step process. Walk us through that step-by-step process.
No problem at all. So, as John mentioned, there's 3 simple, easy steps. The first step, you go into your HDC website, and there's a tab called More Ways to Pay. When you click on that tab, it carries you to a landing page. On a landing page, you simply enter your KYC details or know your customer. That's your first name, last name, your account number, and so forth. Once you enter those details, it takes you now to a payment page where you enter the amount you want to pay, and you click the option that you want to pay for, whether it's Apple Pay, Google Pay, cash, credit, etc. And yes, and that's it.
Is there a profile that can be created where I don't have to put that information in every time I go on the system?
Yes, the system would. So again, once you have your KYC details entered the first time, it automatically it stores that information for you. So it makes it seamlessly easy to go, transactions month on month, or as the case might be.
And I heard there's an option where people abroad, so people from the diaspora, if you have family and friends abroad, they can log in and they can pay for you as well.
Yes, another critical aspect of what John and Mr. Leon sort of mentioned, we have created an omni-channel payment gateway. What that simply means is that there's multiple avenues. So locally, we tend to do cash, credit card, debit card, and so forth. But in diaspora and internationally, persons are very familiar with PayPal, with Apple Pay, Google Pay. Very soon, TSCT, we're working with Central Bank to bring forward our mobile license. What happens, we have a mobile wallet, which democratizes access to non-cash payments throughout the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, and internationally. So all those forms of payment makes it very simple for you. It could be UK, USA, Canada, anywhere, and seamlessly transact and pay your mortgage or your rent online.
Yeah, but in the interim, while we're still working on the wallet, you can log into the site from abroad and you can make your payment, right?
Yes.
Now, John, one of the things you said is that the banks now have that Visa card that you can use, the debit Visa card.
Correct, yeah.
But some of them, they aren't activated as yet, so it has to be activated from the bank's end for you to be able to pay online.
Well, the difference with this is, and again, this is an example of more like a local e-commerce, because obviously with the Forex challenges with the banks and so forth, each bank would probably have their own policy as it relates to you being able to use your Visa debit to do online shopping, for example. Yeah. But when we're talking about paying HDC rent, I settling in TT dollars. So automatically, all those cards would be available for this. So it's really, I think the HDC is basically going to be a sort of leader when you think about local e-commerce and being able to give, I would say, that online accessibility to your everyday links cards. That basically, from the stats that we have, there's almost 1 million cards issued in Trinidad and Tobago. So that gives you a very wide percentage of the population versus credit cards, which is probably around 200,000. So automatically, the HDC's customer base has just kind of open up to be able to use that on the service.
Yeah. And so is it possible then that I can go online from my account and transfer to HDC's account? Is that option also available?
You mean from account to account?
Yeah, and maybe register them as a payee. So I can go on my account and then transfer something to them as well.
Well, HDC already has that service existing,
nice.
yeah.
Okay,
as the minister was saying, the current methods was you either come to HDC office or you do an account to account. But again, when you think about it, the whole More Ways to Pay is you basically providing a convenience option to every type of customer. As your TCT mentioned yesterday, if you're a nurse and you're working in the hospital and you simply don't have time to leave to go to HDC location to pay, you could pull out your phone and then make your payment right there. Yeah. Or for anybody, for that matter, you might be a taxi driver on the road, I'm actually driver on the road, you might be driving Uber in the States, right? So the idea is that it's in the palm of your hands and you can make that payment anywhere.
Yeah. Now, Minister, I understand that one of the reasons that the HDC wanted to roll out this project as well is because they want to collect their debts. They want people to, have the comfort of paying and that sort of thing. But I don't know if we understand that people just would not want to pay. And so how is the HDC going to ensure that these people pay their arrears?
Well, I mean, what this collaboration and the caravan is to really know your customer, understand the customer needs, because there are different reasons persons have not been paying, right? And the HDC has been making some strides in terms of rectifying those things. So, for example, before, if your name was not on the record to pay, and for some reason an arrears came up, you could not go unless that person came in to fix the arrears. So now that has been changed because some people pass away and their relatives continued paying and something happened. But think about it. Now, the person, let's say a domestic worker who's being paid in cash, as John said, a taxi driver, who has a lot of cash and they don't have time, they could go in any NLCB booth and pay. So it's easier, it's more convenient, it doesn't take away time from your earnings. Additionally, persons who are abroad, that's a big thing. If you're taking care of your aunt, your uncle, your son, your nephew, and you living abroad, the other transfers, they take almost half your money, right? With PayPal and Google Play and all of these things, now you can easily make payments. So the option of more payments, we believe that it would reduce the arrears that we have standing. It will make it easier, giving persons more options to pay, and knowing your customer, knowing their challenges, which is why we're so very excited for this app, right? So that we can meet the customer and they can meet us. And it's more or less a partnership that we're going to be moving forward with.
Now, while the online is rolling out on a phased basis, I understand that the app is supposed to be launched soon. Can anybody tell me how soon the app will launch? And
the plan is for June.
June, okay.
Yeah, the plan is for June.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
and that will change the whole process as to how things go. Because currently now we have the area offices. People go in, they complain. People call the office, they complain, and the jobs are sent either to the offices or directly from the customer. Now, any one of us, the CEO, we can log in and we can say, okay, in this development, these are the challenges, and we could actually manage the resources in terms of how we fix these and address these issues, because we can see everything. We can know, okay, we have a certain amount of electrical issues, so it may be more prudent to get an electrical contractor and go through all the buildings and to send one electrician from within our in-house team, to fix. So the planning and the solutions, it becomes a lot easier in terms of the decisions we make.
Yeah. And Minister, while we have the cashless option to offer that convenience, the traditional methods are still available, over the counter.
Of course. Before it was the over the counter or salary deductions. So now
with the standing orders. Yeah. Okay.
Now we have more options.
Yeah.
Because not everybody collects their pay, through the banks and so on.
And Minister, another question. So we are trying to see how we could recover these funds. We're trying to see how best we can have, funds coming back to the HDC. What are the plans for those funds? Has the HDC identified, any sorts of plans or any sort of construction they want to have with those funds?
Yeah, of course. So how it works, based on the income we get from the rentals and stuff, we are able now to plan maintenance easier. We are able to plan for repairs, we are able to plan for upgrades, and even other issues within the development. Once those funds come in regularly, then we have a cash flow, so we can do a regular maintenance, regular upgrades and repairs, etc. So, as I said, now we'll be developing a relationship where we meet you halfway and you meet us halfway.
Yeah.
And there's a synergy for us to live better in harmony.
Well, gentlemen, let me thank you so much for coming in this morning. Let me also congratulate the HDC on this innovation. So thank you so much, of course, Minister in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Minister Leons, of course, GM of Innovation at TSTT, Mr. Keno Cox, and CEO of the TTIFC, Mr. John Outridge. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
At the Now Morning Show, we're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.